here's your heads up to this longer podcast. It's all about questions and using a wonderful skill that will change your life and create things in the present that become your past that just make things even better in the future. You've got to listen to this.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, Paul here again, and I got a question for you. I have a question. Now, what if it all goes wrong? That thing we're going to think about doing, what if it really goes wrong? It all goes, up. What happens when you think about that thing you're worried about and you think, what if it's worse than last time? What if I really screw up? What other type of questions do you ask yourself? I do the same. What type of questions do we ask that really just, buggers things up a little bit? It doesn't do us any good, but we still ask that question. We then hook into that wonderful blooming skill we have, that wonderful skill that when people say, oh, I don't visualize, but when they ask questions like this of themselves, and they've got so it's an interview or a presentation or going to meet somebody and they're asking all these questions, we have this wonderful skill that we do picture this in our minds and we see it in 4K HD quality blooming colour with 5.2 sounds and we make it even worse. We do a brilliant job. We've got this wonderful skill that we're using of a sort for a wonderful positive intention, which we'll go into. But, how does that make us feel when we throw this out and go as far as possible to the worst possible picture we can think of? Sometimes it's even, we do this with things that we're not even going to blooming do, or with people we haven't met. Why do we do this? Here's another thing, before we go to the why, sometimes we even ask ourselves the feelings that we're going to have when it all goes wrong. You see, when I'm in with my clients, I ask them, well, I know you got this issue, but how would you like to feel? How would you really like to feel? And in the most positive terms, they come back and say, well, I don't want to feel frightened anymore. I don't want to feel panicky. I don't want to have this. I don't want to have that. And it's everything they don't want. And all of us, I'll say that again, could be a bit clearer, Paul. Diction. All of this is self-inflicted pain. And it is painful. And it doesn't get any less painful. In fact, it gets more painful because one of the things what happens is you think of the very worst it could be and more. Generally doesn't go that bad, but it still goes bad because you've set yourself up for that failure. And it's that we're really hooking in, or the other way around, the old reptilian brain right at the back of the bottom of your brain is really going into overdrive. Yay, looking to protect us from the saber-toothed tigers and all that rubbish that's no longer there. We do want to be safe, obviously. But the thing is, not this way. And we all do it. Just take a moment or two and think of the times when you've done this yourself, just so you really get a good feeling, but a good understanding that you remember, yeah, I do this. And I do it without thinking. That's the whole point. Or I do it with thinking, but it's triggered off unconsciously. And we need to change that, don't we? Because one thing, how do you really feel when you do it? You feel absolutely, I was going to swear then, but it's, you feel terrible, don't you? It's certainly not a positive feeling. And in fact, you get that feeling and it tends to spin more and more and more and more, so it gets more and more intense and the more you think about it. And you see, each one of those was a question. What if it all goes wrong? What if it's worse than last time? What if I screw up? All those are questions. The only thing is I call them bonky questions. Bonky bloody questions. They're the questions that we ask which have no benefit to us at all, other than to screw with our minds and screw with us and make us feel, it doesn't feel, how safe do you feel when you've really got those feelings in your mind? How much work do you do to prevent it happening when you've got, most people just give up. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it at all. Or they prepare so much that they're going to overwhelm and still don't finish because they're overwhelmed by the enormity of trying to to create something. But there's a simple way of stopping this happening. There's a simple way of using it. Use it as a trigger. You know, if you're going to think about these things, as soon as they come up, think, whoa, just one moment. Maybe there's a better way. Is there a better way? Question. It's simply a matter of asking the right question. That's all we have to do. We have to look to make this ritual, as it were. Trigger, and then the right question. And this is the way to start. Start in a way, and you do it small, bit by bit, and then you do it and you practice it. And you practice, and practice makes what? Perfect. No, it doesn't. It makes permanent. And that means when you get that trigger and you start to think about those things, you go, whoa, just one moment. Let's ask a better question. So, there's another so. Must stop saying that. The thing is, now I've told you all of that, like some people, I just stop. Because that makes me feel important by giving you half the information. All that pain. But here at PDU, Personal Development Unplugged, Cluffy doesn't do that. So I'm going to give you the how and the what. So we can use this to improve our lives. And if we do it gently and easily, you will make it a permanent habit. And it's a good habit that will literally change your lives, because it will change the results you get. So we have to ask better questions. Now, what I would do, I'd write them down to start off with. I'd get your Jenny journal out, and that's a little bit of the how, but I'd certainly write questions out in Jenny journal or those little small cards you can buy. And just have one or two, or in your little ideas book or whatever, just so you can remember them. They're never going to disappear. You know exactly where they are. That's why I like the little ideas book, because you know in the middle of there, I'm going to find these wonderful questions. Now, what type of questions could they be? Well, we spoke about this before. One of those wonderful questions is when we really think something's going to be really difficult and it's just too much, it's all going to go up. You ask, what if this was easy? If this was easy, how would I do it? And it's amazing. That question came from a guy called Tim Ferriss, and it is such a, that's the genius of this question. It's so simple, but it gets away from, or takes you away from all that problem area to look to a solution. So if this was easy, I'd do it this way. Well, why can't I do it that way? Well, why? How can I do it that way? It's even a better question. Let's go into the positive. So how could I do it that way if it was easy? Wonderful positive questions that are looking for a solution now. And that's awesome. Now, how would I like it to be is another question. How would I like this to be? Now, that could refer to the beginning, the middle, the end, and after that. Little steps, each one, so you can work on these. How would I like it to be when in my preparation of this? How would I like it to be when I actually go through that event? How would I like the result to be? How would I like the spin-offs from that result to be? Then you can start saying, well, if that's that easy, what behaviours could I have that would make it successful? How would I act? What skills have I got? What skills do I need to learn to make that successful? Totally positive. What emotions do I need? What would be the most beneficial emotion to have? Because sometimes we're just thinking confidence, but sometimes it's not. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's just being that inner strength. Maybe there's humor there. All these wonderful things you can add to it. Then go into that identity phase. What belief about myself would create the most successful outcome and the most joyous, not just the outcome, but allow me to enjoy the whole thing. Maybe then go meta and ask, what feeling would I like to have as a whole, from the whole of things? So it could be satisfaction, could be a sense of achievement. And see how those emotions and behaviours and skills and beliefs support that overall. And when you do that, you can't help but use that same bloody skill that we've been using before to imagine out, do that. Imagine, visualize going through that scenario now with those behaviors and skills, with those emotions, with those beliefs, with that meta feeling. If it was easy, how would it be? How would it look? How would I look? How would I act? How would I walk? What's my physiology? They are awesome things to do. Now, once you've written those down on cards, and then you can, if you want to, get your Jenny Journal down. But before we go to Jenny Journal to explore deeper, hey, I just want to take 90 seconds of your time to talk about feedback. Why is it so important to us, the podcast? Well, it's my way of really finding out what you want and allowing you to set the direction of these podcasts, to give that feedback, that interaction, to understand what your needs are, what type of processes you'd like to have talked about and given, and allow me to work on with those hypnosis tracks. It's all about being part of this community of sharing. How does it happen? Well, all you do is email me, and that email will come direct to me. It'll make me think of what you want and more. And they'll all be confidential, by the way. Everything is confidential, but it gives me a great insight to your needs and the things that I can explore with you. How do you do it? It's so simple. All you do is email me at feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. That's simple. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. And just think, if you're worried about sharing, and I know we want to talk about sharing, those emails stay where they are. They don't move at all. What happens is I want to share your thoughts and share my thoughts together so we can really just get down to enjoying the world that we want to live in and make a difference. There you go, 90 seconds. I mean, I ask questions of myself when I'm working with clients or when I'm beginning a day's training. And it's always, what would it be like if I was able to access all my skills, to be X, Y, Z, and get the most wonderful result for this client, to help guide this client to get their result, to maybe in a training to share and communicate what I know in the most easiest way so people just get it with enthusiasm, with curiosity, and then after that, lovely sentence, and enjoy the process. Because I don't want to just do this. I want to enjoy the process of all of that. And when I do that type of question, it never fails me. And that's a Cluffy guarantee. It has never, ever failed me. The only times when I haven't maybe got the result with my client that I really wanted, or something didn't work out, is because I forgot I didn't really ask that question. But the thing is, now I've asked that question of myself so many times, I still do it. But I know even before I start asking that question of myself, it's already happening inside. My unconscious mind goes, yeah, come on, Cluffy, we've got this handled. Just tell me how long you want it for. Client, hour and 15, hour and a half. You pick a minute and we'll get it done for then. And you see, when you start doing that, and if you want to go a little bit deeper, as I said, now you've got those questions laid out in cards and on your desk, get your Jenny Journal out and really go through those behaviors, emotions and beliefs. Write them out. Because when you write them out, you're doing those wonderful things. You're verbalizing it inside. Maybe you're externally verbalizing it. You have to think it through. You've got the memory of writing. It's all there. And then you just pause. And as I say, here's one of the other skills. It's called taking action. Because you can, as we said before, you can think this through. You can understand this intellectually and go, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, old Cluffy. But if you don't use this, there's not much point. There is not much point in understanding this and knowing this if you're not going to bloody use it. Because you've got this wonderful skill of visualization, this wonderful skill of imagination. Disney wasn't the only one born with it. We've all got it. So now, start to visualize and imagine using all those behavior, skills, emotions, beliefs, how you'd like it to be if it was easy, everything like that. And as you see yourself over there doing it, in all its wonderful colour and vision, and even if you don't see it, Because some people will say, well, actually, I'm trying this so hard, I don't necessarily see in 2020 vision. As long as you're aware that something is out there, it is a you out there going through that, that's okay. Because you're sending messages to your unconscious mind. But then you can imagine stepping into that scene, going into your own body in that scene. See what you'll see, hear what you'll hear, and feel those feelings of actually doing the way you want it done. Or if it was easy, or how you'd like it to be. If it was successful. This is like acting as if, but in your imagination. And this is just trying it on like a dress rehearsal. But as you try it on, if it's not quite the way you want it, it doesn't feel quite the way you want it, change it. Step out, change it, see it again, jump back in again, till it's exactly the way you want it. And then if you keep running through it, your unconscious mind is practicing to make permanent. So these things are automatically triggered. So when you go to that meeting or to that interview or to see that person, even before you get there, your unconscious mind goes, know what to do. Let's get on and do it. I mean, there's a lovely NLP process called New Behavior Generator. New Behavior Generator. And I might record that as a hypnosis track because it is absolutely brilliant. If I do, I will tell you and we'll link it back to this particular podcast anyway, just so we know what number it is. But it's a way of, in hypnosis, being able to visualize out and see yourself doing this and taking care of all these type of things and then having that come back inside you. It's a lovely process. If you're into NLP, you can Google it, you'll find it, and it is an awesome process and it's so simple. And that's the whole point of all of this. Simple processes from NLP put into hypnosis, or from hypnosis put into visualization and NLP. I really hope that you don't just listen to this, please. Please take action. Because when you do, those thoughts of, oh no, what if it all goes wrong? What if it's worse than last time? What if I screw up? You fill in all those blanks. They will not happen. Because you will start to build what it'll be like. What if it goes better than last time? And last time was brilliant. Because you're going to start building on. First of all, you're going to start making these things happen in the present, which become your past, which become your set of experiences that you're going to look out and create your reality. And the more you do it, the better that reality gets, because you are the creator of your reality. And then when you do that, guess what? If you had a good meeting or you met somebody and it went great, or it was an interview and it went great, you are going to change the world because of you and the way you've acted, behaved, showed your emotions. You've communicated those beliefs because you will have communicated them by your physiology, your non-verbal communications. Everything of this is awesome. So go and play. And it is play. Because the more you make it with a wonderful emotion, it goes into your unconscious mind that much quicker. So we're in a highly emotive state, we're so suggestible. So make it a good emotion, a good emotive state, if that's a word, and allow these suggestions to your unconscious mind to go in and then come out and be. All about asking the right questions and then using those questions with action. First of all, in your imagination, and then go do it. I really hope you enjoyed that. Please go and do that. When you do, I'd love you to come and send me that feedback again. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. That's the email address, and I will share them. Too right, I'll share them, but I'll keep everything confidential, anonymous and things like that. But I would love to share those changes that you make or the experiences you have with this. And if you got anything out of this one, and if you didn't, listen to it again, share what you got with other people too. Share this podcast if you would. Let's make this whole world bigger and brighter, because this is what it's all about. It's about having fun, sharing stuff, and sharing what we know. That old thing I'm flogging to death, the integrated field of learning. That's it. That's it from me. I'm going off to have an imaginative time. Enjoy. And I'm going to be back with you really, as soon as you switch me on again. Okay, bye-bye now. Hey, I know what you're thinking. I've heard this before, but you haven't heard this one. So, anyway, I know you've only got so much time in the world. Time is precious. And you've only got so much time to share good things with your friends. So maybe then maybe the next time you consider sharing something, you can consider sharing this podcast or a podcast of mine of Personal Development Unplugged that you enjoyed, and share it with, I'd like you to share it with everyone. You know, the pay it forward. And if you pay it forward and then you ask somebody else to pay it forward, you know, we'll be really creating this community of the Personal Development Unplugged kind. So I'd love you to do that if you could. If you would like to subscribe to this podcast, you can do it through iTunes, you can do it through Castbox. You can do that. And if you would love to leave a little review, 5 stars is always good, but the words are really more important. If you do that, it takes about, I know people say, oh, it takes seconds, but it doesn't. It takes probably a couple of minutes. If you could do that right now, hey, that would be good. And lastly, all this hypnosis that I do is completely free. You have to go to another website though. Keeps it all nice and clean for you. It's also downloadable, which is the bit I like. I want to give it to you, and so you can put it on any device that you want, and you can listen to it anywhere you want. You don't need to have your Wi-Fi, your internet on. So that's at paulcloughonline.com/podcast. You do have to put an email address in because I have to send you the link to get it. But I just want to tell you now, for all this data protection stuff and everything that's going on at the moment, I do not share your emails with anyone. No one. Nada. They're just to let me send you the link and send you a few updates of the new hypnosis tracks. And what I'm hoping to do as this community, because that's how you get to become like the official member of the Unplugged Personal Development community, is to send some more personal hypnosis tracks that won't be available or talked about on the podcast. There'll be things of my creation which I just want to give to you. So if you'd like that, go there, paulcloughonline.com/podcast. We'll have some great times. We will. I think that's about it. So enjoy every heartbeat. And please remember, do share. It'd be great. Bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.